to stop evil, knowing the vision. Glad to stop people going to prison. Future, present, and odd past. Super presence on podcasts. Laughing or frown, lasting or drown. Sat on pods like passing the crown. Odd pass, you pick out plain English. Podcast, blue tick, and James English.
Through a lot and came out the other side. Learned a lot about myself along the ride. Now I'm living my best life.
Hey everyone, I'm Neah Inspired. Back at it. Unapologetically inspired voices, outspoken words, inspired actions, honey. Today, I am with, what's your name, where'd you come from? Still a Black vibes, honey. Welcome.
Chris Baker. I live in Stevenage nowadays. But
Do you?
Yeah, I grew up in Enfield.
Did you?
And Cheshunt. I lived in Cheshunt.
Oh, Cheshunt's all right.
It's nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice and like suburby, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's it.
I bet you was a fucking nightmare in Cheshunt, wouldn't you?
They loved me.
Did they?
No.
It's lovely to have you here, Chris.
Yeah, lovely to be here.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. I've seen loads of stuff, loads of your stuff online.
Yeah.
You know, loads of your past, like, well, no, you know, like bits related to your past, your criminal history. Obviously, you've lost your arm, and the stuff that you do now. And I think that it's amazing that what you do, and amazing where you've come from with it. You know, you've gone from pain to purpose, and I admire that. So let's just go straight in with it to get it out of the way. So you've lost your arm.
Well observed. Yeah, your vision works. Straight in with an elephant in the room. Yeah, no, I am. You spot on. So,
No, but I just...
yeah.
No,
You want to hear a backstory? Yeah, so...
yeah, because obviously we're going to go on to stuff, but then I don't want to be like...
Yeah.
Going, oh, so tell me about this. Oh, and then that happened. Oh, I didn't notice. No, obviously I know you've lost. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want, like we spoke about on the way here.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here for 45 minutes talking about stuff that you know,
Yeah.
and that you live with every day. So let's just get that out of the way and then go. You know. I've got away with words, darling. Sorry,
Okay.
Anyway, go on, Chris. Talk to me.
Yeah.
When did you first get involved in crime? When did you first get caught?
See, my introduction to crime happened before I lost my arm. It was throughout my childhood. Like, I was brought up in an environment where crime was normalised. My dad used to pick me up in stolen cars, take police chases in stolen cars. He jumped out of lights, beat someone up for bibbing a horn, telling them the light's green. Like, I
don't blame him. How long was he waiting there?
No, he was the one rolling the spliff at the lights, and
up!
People behind telling him to go.
Shut
and
up!
He's like, who you bibbing? Jumped down and beat him up.
Don't condone violence.
That was my first ever witness of like violence, and then
right.
yeah, like I grew up with like drugs around, like a bit of neighbourhood violence.
Yeah.
I see the neighbours one neighbour pull out a knife on my mum. Like, just
Bloody hell!
It was just like normal.
In Cheshunt?
Nah, this is in Enfield, but then we moved to Cheshunt. It was us pulling out knives. I'm joking. No, but like it was normal, and like I just grew up in that environment, and what I think I'd done, I not only normalised it, I formed beliefs on life and how life is supposed to be,
and how it goes. You do
through my experiences I went through, and thought that this is how, like, my
it's
first
normal.
mile is fighting. It's normal.
Yeah.
And it didn't do me no justice in the
didn't
long
do no
run.
justice, yeah. So what happened on the situation that you've lost your arm? Obviously, was that you see, you was on a stolen motorbike?
Yeah, so
right?
I went into a life of crime, and then I was on a stolen motorbike, 10th of May, like in 2008 when I was 22, and then
wow, so it's been a while then.
yeah, nearly it's getting towards halfway soon. Do you know what I mean? Like half of my life was right, and half of
wow.
yeah, not long, and yeah, I was on a stolen bike selling drugs
Right.
in Cheshunt.
What was that, like a motorbike?
That was a proper R6.
Oh, shut up.
With
My cousin
4
died on
exhausts.
one of them.
Yeah.
The first time he'd ever went on one, he was 21, yeah. Really fast. Super
Unbelievable. They
bikes.
do like 160, 170 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
I don't think he didn't expect how fast it was going to go. Is that the same with you, or?
Well, no, I've been driving it for time, but I had a drink and someone rang me for...
I couldn't imagine you.
No. Nah, don't do that. So someone rang me. I can imagine you.
Right, cheeky.
Someone rang me and they was like, "Oh, can you come and drop some coke off?" So I've gone there, done the transaction. As I pulled off, police come behind me, and I've just took chase.
Was they coming for you, or was it just like a fear?
Nah, they had their lights on trying to pull me over. I'm on a stolen bike. I think I'll just leave them. So anyway, I shot off, got to the bend way too fast, and then the bike started snaking, and it just threw me. I went one way, the helmet went one way, the bike went another. I went through this wooden fence, and they're like 4-inch slats by 4 inch, and I just went straight down into a 16-foot ditch. And I'm looking up, and I'm looking at the police officer, the Fed, and I went to school with him from years before, and he was like, and he's saying, "Don't go, I'm still trying to get away." And he's going, "Don't move, Chris, it's worse than you think." I couldn't breathe because I punched in my lungs. I broke 10 ribs.
Really?
Oh, it was horrendous. I broke 10 ribs, punched both lungs, shattered my scapula, broke my pelvis, broke vertebrae in my back.
Bloody hell, you may as well have gone and done the bird hunt.
Massive head injury. You know, I was having a bad day.
Fucking hell.
No, but seriously, and then I went to hospital. Then I'll come out of the coma, and like, everyone's there that I know in my whole friends, family.
Right, it's really bad.
No, and they're all there, and then like they say to me, I said to him, "Get me a drink," to one of my friends, and then everyone's crying because they're saying when he comes out of the coma, he might be brain damaged. They didn't know, and then
really.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks later they come and said it's got to be amputated, and then
right. So it wasn't. So that was when you was in the coma still.
Yeah. Then when I come out of the coma, everyone was there. They see that I was not brain damaged. Then a couple of weeks later, and I'll share you some images. I got some images because I went to the hospital because of what I do now, and I asked for images. And like basically, I was there, and it was just open, like it was covered up a bit when I woke up, but you could smell the rotten flesh. Honestly, it was like
really
stunk like what I would assume dead body smells like. You know what I mean? Like it was horrible, and so then I had to have it amputated. Was the police there? No, they come like when I was fucking going round and round and round in circles in a wheelchair.
So what was they chased? So what was the charge for police? Like for the stolen bike?
Yeah, in the end for the stolen bike.
So that's not really even jail, is it?
Drink driving, just
dangerous driving.
They didn't find no drugs, so there was no none of that. It was just a few silly things really. But I just never thought I'd get caught, you know. Yeah. You know. Like
also, when you've had a certain lifestyle, you have running is, you know, whether it be, you know, big charge or not, you just run, don't you? It's like it's the initial immediate reaction. The police are there, you're off.
Well, like I said to you, like from the age of 8, I was going in stolen cars with my dad, and he's taking police chases. Yeah. So like, I've never known no different. We don't stop for them. We used to call them bully boys, and
yes,
I've never known nothing else. Like they're the ops, as people would say nowadays. And you're like, it's just a game. Like, and I never see no other way. So it was just normal. Like, and I'm not going to stop when I'm not supposed to be on this bike. Got drugs on me.
It's crazy.
I'll just quickly leave them. But it didn't plan out as I thought.
So that was in 2008. Yeah. So you was in the coma from when you've had the motorbike crash.
Yeah, for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
3 weeks.
So then they've amputated your arm.
Yeah.
And then what?
Then I was in hospital for like total about 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I couldn't even. I was bedbound for a few months.
Of course, because you've broke your ribs and all that stuff.
Yeah, my legs swelled up. I'd done nerve damage to both my legs, so I couldn't go nowhere else. And then they put me in a wheelchair. Then I had to learn to walk again. Had to go.
Hell.
Yeah, it was peak.
You're joking.
Honestly,
I didn't realise it was that bad.
Yeah, it was horrific. And that's the easy part. Like the physical part is the easy part. Yeah, it's the mental part. It's because
you're laying down there for all that time.
Mate, it's a whole different ball game. Like, we know what mental health it's like prominent now, isn't it? And like that's a whole different level of mental health. Like,
of course it is.
I've never been where I feel vulnerable because of how I look. I've never been classed as disabled. I've had to adapt that mentality. I've never had PTSD. I've gone through adverse childhood experiences, but I've never had like real PTSD where I'm getting flashbacks of being in that ditch. I've never been in that situation. So, the physical, as hard as it was nothing compared to the mental. Yeah. Because the mental, like the physical, you adapt, your body adapts. It just has this fantastic way of evolving into the position it's in. But mentally, that you can't adapt, that you can't get out of the depression. You
Of course
can't.
you can't.
the
Especially
image-
when you go that low, it's hard to get back up, isn't it?
Oh, mate, like, but I think when you go, yeah, and I didn't. I never changed my mindset, never changed nothing, never worked. I just
How long
suppressed.
did it take
I just suppressed it all.
before you started to say to yourself, you know what, give your head a wobble here, this is what it is,
It took.
and this is who you are, and this is where you're at?
It took probably this time in prison. Well, it took the time in prison to just reflect. From that day to that happened 2008, probably 2019 is when I've really made significant changes.
So that's happened in 2008. You're in a hospital. You know you've faced significant injuries. You've got your arm amputated. You're punctured your lung. You're in bad shape, Chris.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You're in bad way.
Yeah.
In there, yeah. So then what's happened? You've got out of hospital and you're still committing crime?
So they got me a place to live at, and I went straight into Turnford, which is in Cheshunt, basically.
Turnford?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was on the Springs. And
But
then
they loved you.
They loved me. My mum didn't live too far from there anyway, so I was there.
Yeah.
And then I didn't come out my house for 2 years, really.
Really, man.
Like people would knock, my friends would knock on the door, and they'd be like, I lived on the ground floor flat, so they'd knock on my window and say, "Chris, mate, we can see your TV in," and I'll just sit there and not answer the door. And
So how old was you then, may I ask?
23.
You're only a baby still. So that must have been hard because at that age, there's so much of a pressure, isn't there? You're obviously living up to a certain reputation. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're living up to a certain lifestyle that you've always had, and then you just feel like maybe that's been shattered. You're not yourself anymore. You've not got maybe that strength in character.
Yeah.
Because you've lost. You're insecure now.
100%.
You're depressed now. You feel shattered now.
Yeah.
And then you've got, and you're still a youth. So that must have been, I can totally see how you would have not wanted
To live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I contemplated like suicide many times, but I don't think I could go through with it. And two, my mum was so happy that I survived. Now I'm going to put her through more.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of pressure. But obviously that life that I've lived, like you say, I've never considered myself like vulnerable and never considered myself disabled. And now no one that disliked me at that time, and I wasn't liked in that area because of the bad stuff I was doing. No one cared that you lost an arm. They still want to get you. So you still got this pain inside of you, but no one cares.
But you're not that person that's got into all that and caused
you
all
still
that.
got all these people that dislike you. They don't care that you've lost an arm. You still rob them. They still,
if anything, they're
lovely.
up.
We'll get you now. Like,
Yeah.
easier to get. Like, so
bloody hell.
That was on my mind. Then I ended up getting back into the same thing. I went to what I knew. Nothing. I went back to what I knew, what felt normal, and it made me feel like I was the old me, even though the old me was still not something.
But
to
it
aspire
gave you
to.
that fire, maybe, and that adrenaline that you always kind of had.
Yeah, and that's when that more intense. Now I've always got to have something on me because I've got one arm. I'm not stupid.
Fucking better not have anything now. I'm telling you, you're in the wrong bag, mate. I'm telling you, we'll go for scrapping. I'm only messing.
That scares me.
Good. No, don't. So what? So then what happened? You've got locked up armed robbery. So what, you were robbing people?
I was, but I didn't get locked up for that. Someone actually was working for me, like as what you would probably call county lines now, and he took something that wasn't his. So he got held hostage, demand money, and he got stabbed. And basically I got nicked for blackmail, false imprisonment, section 20.
Right.
And when I went to trial, I got found guilty after trial. But
did you?
First of all, he turned up. He didn't turn up. Got.
Touch?
I thought my friend was saying he's not gonna come.
Yeah.
If he said he don't come tomorrow, you're going home.
Him.
No, you're going home because like the prosecution have to get him here.
Yes.
And police brung him like basically handcuffed up, forced him.
Summons him.
And then he said, I don't remember what happened. I don't remember what happened. I take a lot of drugs.
Good man.
No, the judge went, you're scared, you're hostile. We'll read your statement and go to trial on your statement and you can go home.
They didn't.
Sent him home. I went to trial on a statement that he originally made. And then...
And you was one arm?
How can you cross-examine a statement? So then I end up losing, obviously.
You can't cross-examine a statement, but that shouldn't have even been up.
Well, they're saying because he's hostile, they can do that under the...
Do you know what? Exactly the same happened to me at mine. I had... It's so mad. Exactly the same happened at my thing. The number one eyewitness was the guy's girlfriend that attacked me.
Yeah.
But her statement said exactly what I said.
Yeah.
That I was non-confrontational. We come out of nowhere. He attacked me. They said she's a hostile witness.
Yeah.
She got on the box and was just silent. And they said, "Is there a reason you're silent, Station?" I don't want to give it. I'm not
He was
giving
behind
it.
the curtain.
Yeah, I'm not giving. She went behind the curtain, but she was like, "I'm not giving any evidence." They went, "We're putting you down as a hostile witness, so we believe that you wrote this statement on that day.
When
we believe
you was telling the truth, yeah.
everything you've said
Well,
in
you
there.
try winning the
everything you
case.
said in there's true.
Yeah, you can't. You can't even challenge it.
You can't.
How can you challenge it? Because there's like,
You can't- you have no basis
You
to it.
can't say,
There's
well, you
nothing-
said this on that day,
Yeah.
and you're saying this now.
Yeah.
You can't because
They
they're
when
just,
we believe you're scared. That we believe that reason.
Yeah, I knew it was
is
over.
because you're scared for your life.
I
Yeah.
knew it was over them.
Yeah.
Once that happened, it was over.
It's over.
So then they found me guilty, and he gave me.
We're laughing, but I get it.
It's painful because
Yeah.
like I thought I was going home. Like the day before.
So did I.
The day before. I
So
thought-
did-
They
yeah.
couldn't find him. I thought I was going home. Next day, I'm getting 10.5 years. Or I didn't get it then, but they said to me, looking at a 10. When I went to court, after the pre-sentence report, probation said no, he needs an EDS.
Yeah.
Because the IPP had gone then.
Yes.
So they gave me the new EDS.
Right.
He said, I'm giving you 10.5 years EDS. I said, thank you very much. Like, thanks.
Yeah.
And he said, you'll do 5 year, 3 months. When I went back to jail, they said, no, you have to do 2/3. You're doing 7 years.
Because it changed.
But because he said that he made an error, I had the grounds for appeal. And then
Fucking error.
I got it reduced to 8.5
Did
EDS.
they not feel a little bit sorry for you? Because
No, because they're saying...
you're even more dangerous. You've got one arm and
I
you...
was on a suspended sentence for an affray.
I wish you.
And I'd been nicked for other similar offences.
Well, I ain't got your back anymore, Chris. You just rinsed
They're
the fucking life out of it now.
You're more dangerous now because you're not learning from your pain.
Right,
You're
yeah.
actually, that's propelling your badness.
Right,
So they were like, no, for your
yes.
own sort of protection, we're going to slap you with a bird sort of thing.
Right.
But it wasn't. They just got me, yeah. So,
What was that like being... Because obviously you've been to prison before.
yeah.
Before the motorbike accident.
Yeah, I went first time when I was 20... No, I turned 21 in there. So I went and I was like for 6 weeks. And then I went again and I'd done like about 6 months, 4 times, something like that, on remand.
Yeah.
And then I got the big one. Oh yeah, and I got 15 months for a train thing. Yeah, I've had a few.
What was it like? So you'd been in prison numerous times before. You've had the motorbike crash, lost your arm, and you've got all these, physical injuries.
No, I went once before I lost my arm.
Oh,
and
really?
several times after losing my arm. Yeah. The losing my arm made me
You
more
anger.
Yeah, I just
Anger.
didn't,
Like, you didn't give a shit
I didn't want to be
anymore.
alive, let alone caring
Yeah.
about the law.
Of course, yeah, and I could totally get why it would be like that. What was it like for you in prison, especially? And I ask this especially because you've actually got an experience of prison before you lost your arm, before the physical injuries. What do you feel is the most challenging for you from before the motorbike crash to after in prison? What challenged you the most? Because that must be challenging, right? These are all...
Carrying your plate and your bowl.
Make sure that custard's warm.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my
I
bowl.
want my dessert. No, I'm joking. No, they don't. There's no real significant changes. There was nothing. They didn't make adaptations. They don't give a fuck.
No, but I mean,
Like,
did
in
you
a sense.
find anything personally challenging on the wing with the guys and stuff like that
Nah.
when you was...
I feel like when I went with my one arm, I feel like if anything, I was more like,
respected?
yeah, not in a sense of like thing, but it's just like, I don't know.
Like, this guy's got one arm and he's
and
out
I'm
here.
good at like FIFA, and they love that. And then I'm like good at pool and table tennis, and I'm smoking people. And
How you doing, Paul, darling?
And
How you...
I used to be right-handed, and it's like actually there's something about
You know
this.
what? I was going to ask you this,
Yeah.
and someone told me not to ask you it.
Right.
Don't know.
Yeah, I used to be right-handed.
And
yeah.
I was going to ask you, what was you left or right-handed before?
No, yeah.
And you was right-handed.
Yeah, I was.
And what was the challenges that I was going to ask you? And they said no, that might be a little bit too personal.
No, it's
But I just thought that was a
yeah, a lot of people ask that. It's,
genuine question. Yeah.
Yeah, I was right-handed, so then I had to learn, and I learned in block when I wanted to write letters, and I didn't have no one to write a letter for me, so I had to start writing, and it just got better.
Wow.
I feel like your body adapts and your mind adapts.
Because it has to, doesn't
Like,
it?
your body adapts, yeah, and it got better, and my handwriting's all right now, but like I think that adds a bit of context to it. Like they don't, it's like do you know what I mean? I don't know. I just get on with people. Like I feel like I had less issues with one arm than I did with thing. Even though I was in longer.
Yeah.
I think because, and I suppose my attitude wasn't as similar as it was before. Do you know what I mean? Maybe?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So wow. So what about? So you got out. So that was 2008. The motorbike crash had happened.
Mm-hmm.
How long between the motorbike crash and then the what was it? Kidnap and all of that you'd got the 10 for?
Yeah. So the 2008 I had the crash. 2015, like I said, 2 years I was not really coming out my house, depressed. And then I think I went back in 2013. So.
Right.
Or might have been 12, and then I got sentenced for that case. I got caught for that in 15. So I had a few sentences in between,
Right.
from say 2010, when I started coming back out again. It was 2 years after my accident, I didn't come out.
Yeah.
So
And then you've come out and you're like, yeah, I'm back to business.
Yeah.
I'm only joking.
Yeah, I did think that. I was just taking a lot of drugs. I was drinking a lot. I was
To be honest with you, babe, I'm not going to lie. I ain't fucking surprised.
I was suppressing all the trauma.
Of course you was.
And I had no
Especially
counselling.
a young boy. You're young as well. You're only early 20s.
And it wasn't like it is now as much.
Yeah.
It's like men, it's like we didn't have that way. It wasn't as much as
It's more easier now, isn't it? As a
I think
man.
I think it is to talk about it and go.
It's not, it's not really easy.
I think it's men in general. Struggle.
It's definitely easier for men now. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easier than it was, say, back then to say, like, I'm fucking struggling with this, or, I need some time on my own. Whereas even now, men, like men in general, even now it'd still be difficult, but it's a little bit more awareness now when it comes to like men's mental health and, stuff like that. There definitely needs to be loads more. But it's come a bit since then. Since you've got out from that, so you went away in 2015 for all of that. When did you get out then?
2020.
Bloody hell, so you ain't even been out too long.
Well, I got out in 2020. Then they recalled me for a year for no crime committed.
Shut up, I got recalled and all.
Like and it just demonstrates the law. Like I feel like I got arrested for something, never got charged for it.
Same happened with me.
They
Chris.
recalled me
and then
dropped the charges.
Chris,
never went court, and then I had to wait for a parole to get out for 11 and a half months.
I want to smash my... That's what they done to me.
Yeah.
I'd done nearly 7 years, got arrested for something that clearly wasn't me.
Yeah.
Clearly they had nothing on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd got recalled. But then was like, the information that we've got is not really accurate.
Accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. We know, you're not going to get charged, but, I didn't.
By that
I
time,
never.
you're already
By that
back
time,
in,
it's too fucking late.
Because you can't get out to a parole board since you're
not. Some of the licence, darling.
Yeah.
Some they're waiting, rotting for
they're
nothing.
so quick to recall you. Like,
they're fucking they ain't that quick to get you out.
There's so many people in there in this position. I just think it's
terrible,
just,
isn't it?
Yeah, because like you need charges. Like I went in, I got arrested. They said for a kidnap with a gun. Yeah, he said I was holding him in the car while driving. I said, am I fucking Houdini? I'm not driving. I'm not driving with one hand. I'm pointing the gun at him. I said, come on.
With your knees, darling.
And I went in the interview room without a solicitor.
Well, he just got you not guilty.
I went in the interview room without a solicitor and said this. I still got recalled.
Straight.
I still got recalled.
Because that's probation. The minute they're getting emails saying that you've been nicked, it's like straight recall. We'll sort it out when we're ready.
Yeah, because I come off GPS about a month before.
Right.
And they're like, boom, he's back at it. Like, and it wasn't even that. But I get their side, but that's not fair when I'm doing 11 and a half months or 11 months, 3 weeks. Like,
that's a long old time.
I'm never getting
back. You
back.
must have been playing up in there, Chris.
No, I got not one nicking. I had one IEP.
How comes you didn't get out?
Because it's just COVID. It was COVID. So it was paroles.
Oh, my God.
Behind the door for hours.
Oh, Chris, you...
2021, I got out.
I was
and then
there.
went back in 2021. I went back in.
That is very unlucky.
To 2021, I got back out.
Blooming hell.
Yeah, it's long. But it just shows that I think that's a flaw. I feel like if you're going to recall people, unless like if the police ain't charging them and they ain't got a court date, there's no way they're getting recalled. Why should they go in?
They shouldn't, yeah.
You should wait. Give them that grace period. Like, because you've let them out and you trusted them.
Yeah.
And if they're getting charged, and if they get charged, then I can understand. Put them behind.
Do you know what happened with me? I'd got arrested for something. I was with someone. I'm not going to go into it. I'll tell you about it after. But, you know, even the police knew, nothing, it had nothing to do with me or whatever. I just happened to be around, well, nothing like crazy or whatever. Then the place that I was at emailed my probation and told them based on the situation. They'd email probation, they'd recall me. I didn't know. I've gone for a probation meeting because I've just got out of jail. So, you know, every week, twice a week I was on when I'd first got out. Seeing my probation, she's moving all funny at the desk as I'm going in. Yeah. And I mean, they're never like that. I'm late. I'm always late. You're waiting for me.
I don't believe you.
You ain't standing in... I know, shocking. I know, darling. Better late than ugly is what my mother always said. Yeah. Anyway, she's moving all funny in the office and that. And I'm thinking, what is happening? I'm half hour late here, darling. You should be like, Neah. You know, she's moving all funny. It's like she was nervous. It was weird. I've gone in there and I swear to God, never in my life I've seen it. She sat me down and she had tears in her eyes. She went, Neah, I'm so sorry. She went, when you leave here, you have to go and hand yourself in. She went, we found out that the information was not real. You hadn't, because they'd emailed my probation and said I'd been charged for something. She went, we found it out that you haven't been charged and it was not actually you. But the recall paperwork has already gone in and it can only get retracted within the first 24 hours. And I was on annual leave. And I'm so sorry, you got to hand yourself into prison today and I'll get you out as soon as I can. I went, fuck that. You're having a laugh. I'm not doing it. She went, well, now I've told you. It's noted that I've told you. If you don't, you're then going to be wanted for being unlawfully at large because you know that you're wanted now. So Neah, she had tears in her eyes. She was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I was like, I've just done nearly 7 years. Sorry's not good enough. What's a sorry? I don't know when I'm going to get out. Sorry, but this is about you anyway.
No, but that gives like, people, that makes people lose hope in the people that are supposed to rehabilitate them.
You know?
I feel like that's what I got in and then they, like, I could have went in there with that mentality, like, fuck them, they recalled me for nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
you could have lost all them mother years of your life.
For that year, I could have been causing dramas, not caring, lost my head.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't get out for the next 5 years.
Lost your head, you've already lost your fucking arm.
Imagine that, headless and arm. So like it could have, but I thought, no, do you know what? I'm going to show them that they're wrong. And I didn't get no IEPs.
I'm proud of you for that.
And then they had to let me out first time.
They had to, yeah.
But it made me wait 11 months.
Yeah.
I got enhanced.
Chris, that's hard work. That's that's long old time, 11 months.
Well, 11 months, 3 weeks. I don't forget the 3 weeks because...
No, because that's nearly 12 months, darling.
After you get the parole, you have to wait 21 days to be let out.
Of course you do,
you're
yeah.
A mapper or whatever. Yeah. So it was long. But
what have you found? It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. Maybe we should do another episode one day on like the injustice and what we feel the failures are. What do you reckon?
We could do 2 episodes on that.
Fuck it, call it. I'm both by now, darling.
It's their fault.
What do you since then? What have you found the most? What have you found the most challenging? Being, is it physically impaired? They say.
Yeah.
Physically impaired. What have you found the most challenging since then? And what have you found the most empowering? Because obviously it's not an ideal situation. And obviously out of choice, no one would choose to lose their arm.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm a great believer in, you know, with pain comes strength. And I'm a great believer in there is empowerment through every situation in life, even if you don't understand it at the time and even if it hurts and even if it takes a while. I definitely believe there's things to be empowered by through the journey of the pursuit.
Yeah, like, what do you mean in like what's been the hardest in physically or
what's
like...
been both? What's been the hardest for you just authentically as yourself with the physical loss?
Yeah, it was like probably like learning to love myself after losing that because I thought like I hated the word disabled or disability. I didn't like
because of your pride and ego as a man as well.
Yeah, and I didn't identify as it. I couldn't identify it as it because it's not me. And then I think once I started to accept that and embrace that, I've done some good things on that side of it because I've worked with like so like I've done some like modelling for an agency that only employ people with disabilities.
Wow.
And it's like I used to hate that side of me, but then to
feel like it put you at a disadvantage.
Actually go into a shoot and try and embrace that and make other people feel confident in themselves.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So that come from that, I suppose. And I heard this saying like our biggest nightmare often becomes our greatest strength or something like that. And it's like, and for me, there's been a lot of work I've done on that. what else inspiring from it?
What I believe, one of my favourite quotes is, "Make your darkest time your finest hour."
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard, you know, in it. Like, you know, I can imagine when you was in hospital and you're having to accept, you know, I've lost my arm and this, that and the other, and then you go into the whole rage and the pain, and hurt people, right?
Yeah.
You know, so that's why you've then, you know, probably continued even more on a reckless one of like, I didn't really care before, but I give $0 now.
Yeah, but also healed people as
You
well.
know?
More importantly.
Exactly that.
And
exactly
I think
that.
from that, like, loss of arm, I've now used it, I suppose, to show people as a look,
testimony.
This is what
in a way.
happens when I was involved in county lines, etc. Like, that's why I go to schools now, and it's like, actually, I lost an arm for that, and I can tell you, I didn't care about nothing. What you get, all the benefits of county lines, I didn't care about none of them when I was in hospital.
Yeah, of course you didn't.
So is it worth it? Because the consequences are much more severe than the benefits.
Of course they are.
The benefits
but when you're not faced with the consequences,
you don't
think about the consequences, do you? All you see is the benefit.
Yeah.
And then it's not until the consequences come, the benefits don't even exist anymore.
Yeah, it's true. When that cell door shuts behind you and you're on your ones, you don't care about all the benefits.
No, you don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, like, just finding strength out of what I went through, I think it made me a stronger person. I think that's another thing. Like, physically it made me weaker, but mentally and emotionally and in every other aspect of my life, it's probably given me strength, because I've had to examine my life, examine myself, look at the things how that pain now has become something that I use as a good.
Yeah.
So I think everything that I once thought was my life over has become the beginning of my life.
Yeah.
As such.
Yeah. Your pain's ultimately become your new strength.
Yeah, purpose as such.
Yeah. How do you feel? So from that, you do loads of amazing stuff, you know, to kind of spread that message and empower other individuals, and not to see anything of themselves as a disadvantage. And, you know, you're an inspiration in yourself through the journey, regardless of the accident and, like, you know, the disability, as whatever they would say. Mm-hmm. But ultimately you wouldn't be, you potentially may not be without that. You may not have changed that.
Probably be still doing the same stuff or in prison for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Do you ever look at it like that and think, yeah, I've lost my arm, yeah, well, this and that was crazy, but this is what I do now? Do you ever sit there and think, but as much as that's, you know, traumatic and really, really hard for you, I can't even imagine, do you ever think, but if I didn't lose my arm and I didn't go through that mental, you know, strain and pain and not want to be here anymore, I wouldn't be doing the stuff I'm doing? So do you ever look at it as like, I don't want to put it as like, because obviously it's never would be something you're happy about, but do you ever look at it like, you know, compare it to like, what if I didn't have that accident, where would I be, to where you have and the stuff you do? Do you ever compare the two and think, do you know what, I'd rather be here?
Nah, because the other one's hypothetical, isn't it? Like, I would never know where I would be, but I think the way I was, the mindset I was like, I probably still carried on that. Because even after losing my arm...
nothing was stopping you.
Yeah, even after losing, I didn't change. It was when I went to prison and I got some therapy, actually, the first thing that made me start changing is I writ down my whole life, because everyone would say to me, oh, you need to write a book. Your life's crazy. And when I actually put pen to paper, I writ down...
Have you wrote a book?
I've written it, but I've never published it.
Haven't you?
No.
You should do.
That's what... Maybe one day. I think it's
when
gone on the
you're
back
ready.
burner because of everything else.
Yeah.
But I put it down,
fine.
and that made me see the patterns, like everything.
And you don't. Sometimes that's what it takes, you know.
It gave me a total different perspective.
Yeah.
Because I see it. Like, I've put it through, and it's like you're actually reliving it. You're processing it, like, and I just see it all, and I was like, oh, and that made me look at myself a bit more compassionate, like a bit more compassion, a bit more empathy. Actually, now you're aware of what you've been through and how you're actually living in childhood past in your reality now. You need to make changes. And then I started working on myself, went to therapy, met this guy called Sam who's in prison.
Shout out Sam.
He'd been to Harvard and that, and like
Did he?
And he was like, that was in DCAT, and then he started saying to me, you should do this, like you could be this, you could become an author, you could become a speaker, you could make a movement, you can help people. That gave me a bit of purpose and a bit of hope, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've never had. And then, everything's just started snowballing in the right way, I suppose.
How do you feel about, when you was like younger back then, and your aspirations maybe of life, or the things that the things that you may have aspired for back then compared to now, is there anything that's different related to the physical difference?
Say that again.
Like, say compared to when you was younger,
or
say you didn't have the crash, and your aspirations for your future self, compared to your aspirations that you have now for yourself, do any of them differ based on your physical difference?
Yeah, because I had no aspirations before. I was like a ship without a captain, just hitting into everything. Like, I wanted to be the most successful drug dealer or whatever. I had no aspirations. It was just repeating what I've learned and just doing it to the best of my ability. Now it's more like, how can we make a change? How can we prevent people doing that? Like,
I love that.
There's more meaning. There's actually relevance behind it.
Yeah. And that's so fulfilling, right?
100%.
Makes your pain have a purpose.
100%, and it's like you have something that's meaningful, like selling drugs and all that life and not knowing where you can go and not being, that's not no benefits to that, is it?
No,
so like since then things have changed drastically. It's all about using what I went through as a purpose to prevent people having the same experiences and maybe reduce crime and make them have a better life without having to experience a cell door for 5 years or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that. That's so admirable about you. You've got such a nice aura as well. And a lot of, I can imagine, obviously I didn't know you back then, but can imagine, well, if that was me, I'd probably been very angry and bitter.
Oh, I was
quite a long time. At myself, at the police.
That's the worst one, because you're angry at everyone else, but the main person is yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, because you're the one that crashed. You're the one that made the mistakes to have the police crash you.
It's easier to point out and blame everyone.
Yeah, if it's someone else, that rage that is filling you, that pain, that loss, and like all of it,
you give it to them.
You can feel it, but you can put it externally, can't you? You can externalize it. When you know that you had the drugs, they were chasing you because your bike was stolen. You was on the bike, you crashed. That's fucking hard.
It's hard to accept because it's accountability, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
accountability is hard.
And you struggle with that when you're in that life.
Accountability is hard, and especially when you're in that life. We don't have no accountability.
Yeah. And that's where Sam, when I said about Sam, he said to me, Chris, and I think he was trying to say it in the most subtle way he can. He said, remember when you're pointing this way, yeah? He said,
there's one finger pointing back at you.
3 fingers always pointing back at you. And I was like, he's basically trying to say me, like, start taking accountability, but without antagonizing me or being rude. And it stuck with me because it was like, it starts with you, doesn't it? Like, no one else is to blame.
What's your, if you had one, something that you could say to the 23-year-old Chris now, what would you say?
23, I would.
Okay, maybe not, but 16-year-old Chris.
Maybe like you are enough or something like that. Like I feel like I had no belief in myself. I was chasing validation from externally, because I had none internally. Yeah. So like maybe like. And
sometimes even our intimate relationships are not giving us, like our closest relationships are not giving us that. So you could be close to loads of people. I don't know your backstory, but you could have loads of immediate family or like partners and stuff like that. But you could still need validating.
Yeah.
In ways that you seek through what you know, which is not obviously beneficial.
Yeah, and I feel like at one stage before, I was having multiple partners to validate, but there's no substance in that, is it?
No.
There's no substance in that. Probably that I'm enough, because then I would have maybe had the foundations to believe in myself a bit more and not believe that crime is the answer or violence or drugs or all that negative stuff I was doing before wasn't the way. And maybe I would have seen that I could do something better without going through that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What inspires you?
What inspires me?
Apart from me, obviously.
Yeah, well, Neah Inspired.
Well, duh. Hello.
No, like, what inspires me? I've done quite a bit of mentoring, and I was working with one kid. He'll probably watch this now, and I won't say his name, but like, he was, or he is a traveller, and he'd always never really related to any of his workers or mentors, and
Till he met you.
And then and I've seen him, and like he was the first one I took on, and he's never been in crime since. And like he said, like, the way you talk to me.
Oh, really?
So like I'm talking to him, and then
I love this. Honestly, I just love it.
And I'm just talking to him normal, and then he watched like.
Of course, you're talking to him normal because
I
you
can
are
relate to
normal.
him.
We are normal.
He's had
but you're not.
He's had a similar background, and it was like we understood each other, and then like I feel I built trust with him, and now he's not in crime no more, and I think that there is like to give them that feeling of they are enough before they go repeatedly and end up at 35 coming out of prison again.
And do you see how that reverts so much back to what I asked you previously, and the link between that? Said what would you have told, if you could have one thing that you would say to your younger 16-year-old self, you said that you're enough. Said what inspires you now, and your answer to that was basically for the youth to tell them that they're enough.
Yeah, because
and they're so aligned, and it just and the reason why you've answered that the same is because you know that if you knew that then you wouldn't have maybe ended up where you was. Yeah. So that's why it's so vital now for you to. Why it inspires you now so much to kind of break that cycle and give other people. The younger you, maybe that.
And I think that's why it's so good, because like so much more clever than I was at their age. Like people would, if someone like me would have spoke to me at that age, I would have been like, "Shut up, you're old. What do you know?" Like, I would have. I know what I was like. I thought I was like.
I couldn't imagine it, Chris.
Shut up, man.
I couldn't imagine you like that.
What do you know, you silly old cunt? Like, get away. Go on. But
no, you're the granddad giving the words of wisdom.
Uncle, innit?
Man said uncle.
That's why I could never go back to prison and be called uncle on the wing. Nah,
imagine that, yo, unks, don't know Jack Roly Poly.
You'll be auntie as well, so I don't know why you're getting.
No, allow it. No, do not ever call me fucking aunt.
Cut that. But no, seriously, and it's like for them to listen and
would
deep
I really be auntie?
I'm joking. You're not that old. I don't know how old.
That old?
You're not that old, so I'm nearly 40 this year. 29.
Nah.
Go safe.
No, because you look near. I thought you was a little bit older than that.
What, 40?
Yeah. Yeah, but no, it's all right. It's fine. You insulted me. So
what, 29? I said 29.
Yeah, I know. But come on, Chris. Did you mean that?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, for them to listen and take it in, deep it, and actually change their ways, I just think like that was my calling, because I'm obviously getting through, and like the people that had worked with him, this kid had been in care, whatever, his whole time, and
so he's not validated his whole life.
And he'd never ever engaged with anyone, never ever gone to meetings with his key, like the people from the care system, and I'm going there with him, and then he's got a new attitude. He wants to do like mentoring, and it's like to see that, and then for them to say, "Oh, like we've never had this engagement with him," because you don't really understand him. Like you're coming from.
Oh, he doesn't. And he doesn't feel. He don't feel safe with you.
Yeah, and to
be able to be his vulnerable self, in order to grow.
So my thing was like, all right, we need to do. It inspired me. Like we gotta do this at scale now. Like, that's the goal. So,
and I think that's such a pivotal point as well in life, because I found that for myself as well. When that's such a pivotal point in your own journey as well as other people's. When you see that your pain then turns into a purpose, and then your purpose then helps encourage, empower, and change other lives that have nothing to kind of do with you. You then see that how that may have. You then see the impact of that, and then you then start to think that then starts to fulfill you in ways that you've not been fulfilled. That's not money.
Yeah.
That's not, multiple, like worldly desires.
I get what you're saying, because I always look back to it like when I met Sam, He's a multi-millionaire. Yes, he was in prison for fraud because tax evasion.
I see why you're a multi-millionaire,
but
darling, but I don't blame you.
But he's in there for tax evasion. I get that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But then I used to think, why is this guy helping me? And it's the exact reason. He changed my trajectory in my life, changed my direction. The same way he's looking at me, the same way I look at the kids that I work with. Because he's like, I can take this kid and change his life. Yeah. And he don't even know it. And he's getting that same thing. He don't need money. He's getting that same fulfillment through helping me change my life that I'm now getting. Yeah. And it's like, And
you could have all the money in the world. Remember, like earlier on.
This is why they all turn to philanthropist work when they get money, because they want to give back, isn't it?
Of course they do. Because ultimately, listen, we all need money. We've got to eat, you know what I mean? We all want money, we all want success. But, you know, what I've learned through all my years in prison as well, I've done 9 years, 10 months altogether. The only break I've had is 5 weeks in between. So I've literally done 5 weeks between that and 10 years. When I was younger, And I was always like that. I could have all the money in the world. It was like money, money, money. But the only reason I realised, took me a long time to realise why I was like that, was because I grew up in such poverty. Got 4 older brothers. My mum raised us on her own. We never had fuck all. So I was constantly felt like that was why my mum was so battling with mental health. That was why my family was so dysfunctional. That was why life was so hard. And this, that and the other. So it was like, right, if I get money, everything will be cool. And then it was like, I had money. Oh, if I make more money, I'll be even better. And then it was like, do you know what? It's not even that. It's, you know, it's about purpose. Obviously, we need money. We need a certain level of it, you know, to not have the stress, you know, the basic levels of, you know, stress of, you know, if you're absolutely brassic. But, you know, what the real fulfillment is in giving back and helping, encouraging, empowering.
Making a difference.
Making a difference and making a change, because that's the value. Like, people see value as what's in your bank or what you can, but really, that's the real value. That's what you really offer.
Yeah.
You
what
know?
do you bring to society? What do you take from it?
Yeah. This has been so great. And I don't even want to wrap up, but Chris was late today. You know, I'd love to do something else with you. Yeah. Chris, you up for that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Can you, like, just... But yeah, I'd love to do something else with Chris, because I feel like we could chat for ages.
Definitely.
Yeah, because this is just great, and I just love it, and I just find you so admirable and inspirational, and just such a, you know, you're such a testament to yourself, and, you know, and your environment, and
Likewise.
Everything you had and you didn't have, man. Like, you know, I hope that you are, but I want to say that I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too.
Thank you. And it's beautiful, and I love that. I'd like to do something with you again soon.
Definitely.
But yeah, just make sure you're on time next time, darling. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
I think everyone that watches knows you.
Cut!
Scratch that.
Anyway, this is Chris. Tell them your Instagram, your handles. So I'm going to get that tag.
It. Chris.
No, you say it, darling.
Chris _.
You lost your arm, not your voice.
Chris __ Baker __, but I'm sure you'll tag it in there.
Yeah, I'll tag it in. Anyway, this is Chris. He's absolutely amazing. So if you don't know Chris, make sure that you follow. I'm going to tag his Instagram at the bottom here, and just follow the journey. Really amazing, really inspirational work that he does. But yeah, what I believe is, you know, to inspire others, you've got to inspire yourself first, just like I have and Chris. So yeah, we love this, and we'll be back. And make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment, and just tell Chris to be on time next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, big up. The inspired outspoken words, inspired actions. Say bye, Chris.
See ya.
Now I'm living my best life.